So, welcome back to Rosalind Corner. Today I'm going to also show you how to make a spicy fried chicken. So, I'm going to be using one chicken that I've already had washed and cleaned and cut up. I used the whole chicken for this recipe. So, we're going to start with the brine. For the brine, I'm going to use 4 cloves of garlic that's been sliced, a half a white onion, and 1/2 cup of hot sauce. Not 1 cup, but a half cup of hot sauce. Okay, get all of that in here. Hot sauce in here. Give it a stir. And a teaspoon of salt, which is optional because when I make the dry seasoning for the chicken, I'm going to also add salt. I don't want it to be too salty, but I do want it to have some season. So I'm going to add about a half teaspoon of salt. And then I'm going to add in my buttermilk. I'm making the brine, and the chicken is going to soak in this brine for at least 4 hours or overnight. So I'm using about a quart of buttermilk for this. It says a gallon, but I think a quart is good. So I'm going to add in my chicken. And if it's not enough milk over the chicken, not enough buttermilk, I can always use just regular sweet milk. So I'm adding in my chicken. And I think this is going to work out just fine. I'm going to add in all my chicken to the brine. It's going to work out just fine. One whole chicken that's been cut up and dried. And add to the brine. I want to make sure it gets in here good. And I'm going to cover this. And I'm going to place this in the refrigerator for overnight. Or like I said, for at least 4 hours. Get all my chicken in the brine. So now as you can see, all of my chicken, one whole chicken has been placed in the brine. And I'm going to cover this and place it in the refrigerator overnight. Welcome back to Rosalind's Corner. Now, today I'm going to finish this buttermilk brine chicken that I had brining last night. It's been drained. Now you can also rinse the chicken if you choose to, but you don't have to. So I took off much as the brine as I could, but I didn't rinse it. So left some of the brine on it, which is just basically going to give it a good taste. And for this particular chicken, the dry seasoning, I'm going to use 3 cups of self-rising flour, a tablespoon of granulated sugar, 1 tablespoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of black pepper, 1 tablespoon of onion powder, 1 tablespoon of Cajun seasoning, 1 tablespoon of paprika, 1 tablespoon of garlic powder, 1 tablespoon of pork seasoning. And I'm going to blend this all together with the self-rising flour. As you can see, I'm mixing all my dry ingredients together. You can also taste your seasoning to see if you need to add anything before you start to put your chicken into the dry seasoning, because sometimes it might be lacking in some seasonings. Now, if you're using self-rising flour, you might want to cut down on your salt because you don't want it to be too salty. In my case, I'm using plain flour. I also have my oil heating on a medium heat, and you want to keep an eye on your oil because you don't want it to cook too fast and your chicken will start to burn. So you're going to cook this chicken on a medium heat. So you want to make sure that your eye is not turned real high. Kind of put it on low. And I'm going to give my flour the taste test to see if it's ready to go into the hot oil. So I'm just going to give it a nice stir. Try to blend it as well as I could. So I'm going to taste it. Actually tastes really good. Okay, so now my seasoning is all good and blended. I'm going to start to add my chicken to the seasoning. Get it nice and coated. Nice and coated. I also like to shake a little flour into the grease to see if it's ready. Now, with this recipe, you can also make a batter, but I chose not to. You can make a batter with 1 egg and a 1/4 cup of water. Blend that together and add your chicken into the batter, then dip it in the flour. But I don't like doing batter, so I'm just gonna do chicken with the flour, and I think this is gonna be crispy, and I think it's gonna be a great tasting chicken. So I'm just gonna test my flour to see if it's about ready. Like I said, you don't want your oil to be too high and start to burn. So in the meantime, I'm just gonna continue to flour my chicken. And I'm gonna test it with this chicken wing. I'm gonna test the oil, see if it's hot enough. Yes, yeah, that's a good heat to start adding my chicken. Yes. And so I'm going to continue to flour all my chicken and add it in. I'm just going to let this brown. Can you hear it frying? Continue to keep putting the flour on my chicken. Get it nice. Okay. So we're going to watch this and let it brown nicely. And I think we're going to have some great fried chicken today. Yes. I'm going to continue to season all my chicken. And also, let me remind you that before you cook your chicken, you also want to make sure that it's not too cold, that it's been sitting out. You want it to be at room temperature. Anytime you're cooking any kind of meat, you basically want it to be at room temperature. So we're just going to let this fry. and brown. And I'm cooking this in a cast iron skillet. We're just gonna let this continue to cook. And I want to turn it just one time so you can see what it will look like once I turn it. But it is cooking nicely and it's at a nice temperature. Not cooking too fast and the heat is not too high. Like I said, you don't want to cook your chicken too fast. It'll be burnt on the outside and not cooked well on the inside. And that's the key to cooking fried chicken. So, we're just going to let this cook. It smells nicely. So we're going to just let this cook for a while. Wow. Okay, I've given the chicken its first turn and just look at that. Now, let me just explain. When you're making buttermilk brine chicken, you have to be really careful. Because of the buttermilk, it can burn easily. So you just want to keep your eye on your chicken and make sure that it's not burning and that it is staying at a nice medium temperature. Finished product, and here we have it. Buttermilk fried chicken. I hope you are enjoying your Sunday, and thank you for watching Rosalind's Corner. Until next week, have a safe and wonderful day.